Metal from Heaven by August Clarke. This book was really good. It's a really good, expansive sci-fi, very queer sci-fi. Um, I recommend it. You should read it. I don't really want to spoil anything. I'm not gonna spoil a lot, because I want you to read it. I don't want to ruin this for you. So I'm not gonna get into super plot spoilers or anything, but I will talk about some things that come up maybe later on in the book. So you might get some minor spoilers here. Or you could just go read the book and then come back. Or don't come back. Just go read the book. That's fine. I'm gonna have a hard time making this video because this book's really good. And I'm not. This book is a better book than I am a reviewer. And because I don't want to get too much into it, I'm just gonna I've been putting this review off because I know I'm not gonna do the book justice. It's a good book. So this book really comes out swinging. The first chapters are very strong. Like this first chapter is really, really good. It starts with this 12-year-old girl named Marnie Honeycutt, who lives in this big city, but she's very poor. She is a child laborer. She works in this ichorite factory. Ichorite is a metal from heaven. The metal from heaven from the title. This sort of revolutionary substance that has completely changed industry in this world. However, it comes with side effects. Marty's parents were working in this factory, so her mother was working with the substance while she was pregnant with Marnie, and that has given some of these children side effects. They call them luster-touched children. They're sort of allergic to ichorite. That's the best way I can describe the reaction Marnie has to touching this substance, or being around large amounts of it causes her to like go into a fit, which is the world gets very hazy, like a pink and green, purpley sort of haze, which is replicated on the cover. I really like the cover of this book. Kinda. Actually, I don't know who all the characters are on the cover, but I like the colors on the cover to represent that sort of hallucinogenic state of discombobulation that she goes into when she touches this substance. But she can also sort of work it like magic. It's not magic, but well, I guess it's kind of magic, but it's if she touches it, she can bend it to her will. She can stretch it or pull it apart. She can, if a building is built with ichorite, she can just strip it away piece by piece, or she can form pieces together. She has an ichorite knife that she uses. That's later. Anyway, so she is a 12-year-old luster-touched child living and working in these factories. And the book opens on a union uprising. Marnie's sister is leading this rebellion towards the man who owns these factories and runs these cities, whose name is Yan Industry Chauncey. The names in this book are the naming system is quite involved. And the workers are rising up against him and saying, hey, like, these are terrible working conditions. We have children who are very sick. We have adults who get sick off of it. Obviously, there's no child labor laws enacted. We need better working conditions. And obviously, Yan Chauncey does not listen to this. He massacres absolutely everyone. Marnie is the only survivor of this massacre. Everyone she has ever known is dead, and she watches her entire family get murdered. And it goes for it. Again, that is a very strong opening. What an inciting incident. Doesn't get more thrilling than that. Except does. Marnie narrowly escapes from this absolutely brutal massacre. She's 12 years old, and she sneaks her way onto this train out of the city. She knows she can't live there. The enforcers will hunt her down and kill her. So she has to run away. And she ends up getting onto this train with the help of this just random woman, Moore's Brandiger. So she's sitting on this train completely in shock, and then she hears gunfires and someone starts robbing the train. So you're thrown into this awful, harrowing situation into another traumatizing situation. Except when Marnie looks, she realizes that the woman robbing the train is the woman who helped her get onto the train. And so she feels a sort of kinship with her savior. And she helps this woman. This woman's working with a group of other women, and she helps these bandits rob this train. And they allow it because they watch her like pry the train apart. Like she like unglues an Icarite door and gets them to safety and helps them. And so she becomes part of this bandit crew. She's adopted by these gay bandits. Most of them are gay. Not there's a larger group of bandits that this little group of bandits works for. The little group's all gay, but not everyone is gay in the bandit city, but a lot of people are gay in the bandit city. And so Marnie is raised by these people and she becomes a highwayman. But her one purpose in life, her ultimate goal, is to kill Yan Industry Chauncey, who murdered her entire family and everyone she knows. She also had a childhood crush, like her first love, who was her best friend, who worked with her in these factories, who is presumably dead, just like everyone else. And this girl becomes a symbol for Marnie. Marnie very much idolizes this little girl who she grew up with. This is very much a book about obsession, and she reveres this girl. The memory of this girl becomes like her god. There's a very complex religious system in this, and there's a lot of different groups of people, like different ethnicities who all believe in different religions. And Marnie is religious. She grows up religious, but then when she has to run away from her city, she doesn't really participate in that religion because it's not accessible to her. She moves to a different part of the world. But she does have this religious upbringing, and that does shape how she views the world. And basically she idolizes this girl. And the book is actually addressed to this girl. She's not like really writing like physical letters or anything. It's not an epistolary novel, but it's written in first person. And then when she mentions this person, she says you. It's like she's telling her life story to this person because she has literally devoted her entire life to the memory of this girl and avenging her and killing this man who killed her and her whole family, which is a really nice theme. Just queer longing, just sapphic yearning, just absolute pure fucking devotion. Again, that is her one goal in life, is to kill this man. And she plans to die doing it. She has no concept of life beyond this plan. She just knows that she has to kill this man. The first almost half of the novel is her growing up, and her like as a teenager and as a young woman, learning to be a bandit, meeting like these people who will shape her life. This like found family dynamic, which is kind of nice. I really liked. This would maybe be my only like gripe for the book. It's not really about the book, it's about the description. So if you read the description for this book, it says it's about Marnie Honeycutt is this luster-touched bandit ex-child worker who wants to kill Yan Industry Chauncey. And she does that by entering into this competition to marry his daughter. So Yan Industry Chauncey's daughter, Gossamer Dignity Chauncey, is like a royal lesbian. She's not really royalty. She's super rich. Her family's super rich, so they're basically royalty, and they control everything, even if they're not like one of the actual royal families from around the world. So anyway, Marnie's plan is to seduce this daughter, get into their house, and kill her father. But that doesn't happen until 44% of the way through the book. I wrote down the percentage while I was reading this, because you basically hear absolutely nothing about Gossamer Dignity Chauncey, the daughter, until 44% of the way through the book, which is a long way. Usually, like, you could have like the first third of your book to be like the setup, and then you have the middle, and then the resolution should be like another third in structures. You get it. So this feels, when you're reading it, it feels like a bad place to put it's not the inciting incident, but it's like the start of the main point of the novel. However, it's not actually the main point of the novel. So when you read the description, you expect most of this book to be about her seducing the daughter and finding a way to kill the father. That's not what the book's about. It's just a bad blurb. It's not a bad blurb. I mean, it made me want to read the book, but it maybe be like, when is this happening? It makes the beginning feel like super long and like overly exposition-y just because of the expectation. In reality, I really enjoyed that first 44% of the book where she's growing up alongside these bandits and learning about herself, learning about the world. But the whole time you're like, when is the real plot start? So maybe I think the description, the actual blurb, does like a disservice to the actual structure of the novel. I don't really know how you'd change it. I don't know. The blurb's good. It got me in, but it's there's like a disconnect between what the novel actually is and what the blurb does. Like in a different book, this blurb would be like a really sort of not cheesy but kind of overdone marriage competition contest. That's, I guess, sort of what you think it's going to be going into this, because like everyone wants to marry this girl. She's super rich. So like all of the royal daughters from all around are vying to marry her, and you expect, or I guess I expected that to be like a really, really big plot of the book. And it's not. It's just kind of like a small section. You could have done a book like that where it was a big competition. I don't know that would be a better book. I don't think that was the story the author wanted to tell. But that's just the story that the blurb leads you into thinking this is going to be. When it's quite different. It's not that shallow. It's really about Marnie, and her devotion, her single-mindedness. She has one cause. She does not care about herself. She's not even like particularly concerned with the future. Again, she has no future beyond killing this man. She's going to kill him, and she thinks that she's going to die doing it because he's got all these armed guards. People were already looking for her as a child, and then now she's a famous bandit, so people are on the lookout for her again. Like she does not expect to survive very long. She's not dreaming of retirement or old age or settling down or finding a wife. She's just going to kill this man, and that is it, and that is her entire life's purpose. It's sort of selfish in a way. It sounds selfless, like she's avenging all of these people, but in actuality, is she avenging them? Like if he dies, but his daughter takes over, someone else takes over, there's still going to be all these factories, people are still going to be suffering. She's not really concerned about stopping the system. There are people around her who are, and she does support them, but that's really not her primary goal. Her primary goal is just to fucking kill this man. That's it. For herself and like her legacy. That's what she needs to do. It's less about the actual social change for her and just her single-minded drive for revenge or avenge. It feels very honorable for her. Nothing else matters. Again, she doesn't even matter. There's a lot about how she doesn't indulge herself pleasure really in any part of her life, sexually, romantically, just in her day-to-day life. She's not like, wow, I'd love to go for some pizza. There's no pizza in this world, but she doesn't indulge herself. This is it. Her entire life is leading up to this. Nothing else matters. I do like the ending. I won't spoil it, but it's quite profound. I like the premise. I like the characters. Some of the world building at first, it's like irrelevant. I don't know. You get some little inklings about all of the different cultures and all of the different religions surrounding this area. And for a lot of the book, you're like, I don't care. Like you're really in like one area. You don't see super much a lot of the other places. So for a lot of the book, you're like, I don't care. And then you do end up meeting all these royal dignitaries who were trying to marry Gossamer. So you end up learning more, and like some of it becomes relevant. I found myself more invested in the cultural, religious stuff as the book went on. Like towards the end, I started caring. For a lot of the book, I didn't care. And some of it was sort of complex. I didn't like fully understand it or like care enough to understand it on a first read. I would like to reread this book. If I reread it, I might appreciate more in the world building in that sense, because I do feel like you get the sense that the author knew what they were talking about and they really created this world, even if it didn't really come into play, some of the kingdoms or whatever, the cities. But you got the sense that the author knew what they were talking about and like put thought into it. And so maybe there's like little world enriching details that are missed on you the first time when you just don't really care, or you're so overwhelmed by the influx of information that you're like, okay, sure. But that's fine. It's not like the clearest possible world building. You're not going to completely love and understand everything on first read, but that's fine. It does invoke an atmosphere. This book was very well written. The writing is quite poetic at points, and there's a good voice. There's a good distinct voice for Marnie. Quite stylized, quite well written. I particularly liked when Marnie goes into an Icarate fit and she's sort of like in this anaphylactic hallucinogenic state. The writing becomes very like choppy, or you get like these long run-on sentences. You can tell that Marnie's state has been physically altered. She's not thinking quite properly. Her body's not responding properly. So there's like a change in the writing style, and it gets sort of very poetic and sort of experimental at parts, which I like. There's a really experimental part at the end. I won't spoil that, but that was cool. So there was definitely thought put into the writing, and you can tell that this author is good at writing. Probably my favorite thing about this book is just like how gay it is. I discovered this book through a recommendation by the author C.L. Clarke, who is a good author, another good Clarke author, who writes like Sapphic fantasy, sci-fi, speculative fiction. They used a phrase to describe this book that lives rent-free in my head, and that is knife fucking strap sucking fun. Sold immediately. Immediately put this on my TBR. Bought a copy of the ebook and finally got around to it. C.L. Clarke also said, this one's for the dykes. It's very dykey. There's a lot of great discussion and world building, actually, based on sexuality and gender. So there's actually slurs. There's in-world slurs and like slang terminology for queer people, especially queer women. I guess we don't actually see a lot of queer men. There's a couple. So the lesbians in this book are called crawlies, which comes from women who like to bugger each other. So bug, crawly. And it even talks about how there's sort of an older generation's spin on this term where they used boy crawly and girl crawly for butch and femme respectively, but even that's fallen out of favor. So it's like a very realistic dialectical world building with slang, which I quite like. So you have Marnie, who's very much like a sort of stone butch boy crawly, and then the different cultures have different takes on gender and sexuality as well. There's like a pirate prince, pirate king maybe, who talks about how in his language there are 5 genders. There's penetrating males, penetrating females, penetrated males, and penetrated females, and then everyone else who doesn't ascribe to that not dichotomy, quadcotomy. And so Marnie is from a land where it's bad to be a crawly. That's like a slur for a lot of people, but they've sort of reclaimed it, which is another like cool realistic world building aspect of the religion. But the sort of royal crawlies all call themselves lunarists because they've created their own like astronomy society where they study astronomy. They get together and study astronomy. So they're lunarists. And they don't like the term crawly because they've only heard it as a slur. These like bandit butches are like, fuck yeah, I'm a crawly, fuck you. And then you get some like really fun like gender play. So like Gossamer's doesn't like to be called Miss. She's Mr. Chauncey, even though she's a woman. When Marnie disguises herself as an aristocrat to go seduce Gossamer, she takes on the name Velma Loveday, and when she she returns to her kingdom, they call her Lord Loveday instead of Lady Loveday. There's a butch character named Harlow, and Marnie at one point says she's my brother. So you get like this cool like mix of like gender stuff, of like these women taking on male titles to better represent how they represent themselves, which is cool. Why don't we do that? I feel like we should do that. There's another character who, when Marnie's a child, she meets like this older butch, and she's like, yes ma'am, and the butch is like, ugh, don't say that. Yes sir, if you need to be real polite about it. Yes, sir, me. There's just fun gender play, sexuality play. It's like world building. That was probably my favorite part of the novels. Just a real authentic depiction of otherworld queerness, second world queerness, which it was just fun. It was fun and gay. This book's gay and toxic. There are some explicit scenes. There's some gory scenes. Sometimes those are the same thing. There's violence. There's obviously trauma. Again, this isn't like a happy book. There's not like a happy ending. It doesn't want that. The ending's not like bad. I actually like the ending, but it's quite nuanced. It's quite dark. It's quite just overall, not the ending specifically, but everything's very toxic and fun and dark, and all of these characters are quite flawed. Some of them are bad people doing good things, good people doing bad things. Knife fucking, strap sucking fun. I love that. C.L. Clarke, great writer, as you could tell from coining that phrase. I actually don't remember the knife fucking. I don't remember that. Again, I have to reread it. I remember the strap sucking. Maybe the knife fucking was in an arc. Because I feel like C.L. Clarke got an arc of this and reviewed it early. Did the knife fucking get got? That's not cool, man. Just a really good book. I don't know. I can't do it justice. I can only tell you to read the book. Very gay, dark, queer, fucked up. There's a cool twist. There's some cool twists. That I didn't exactly call. I like kind of thought about it, but not. I didn't entirely get there. But that were very exciting. The last like third of this book I like blew through. I was like, I needed to know what happened next. Very engaging, good storytelling. Really like the characters. Really like the world. I really like the tone. If you want an adult, kind of twisted revenge tale, this is a good book. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Good sci-fi. Just fun. Fun gay. Fun gay. I guess it's kind of not fun. It's kind of fucked up, but like that's fun in a way. To read, not to live. This would be a terrible life to live, but it was very entertaining to read about, and I highly recommend this book. Just read the book.